The Galactic Border Patrol detected something unusual. A massive warship, unlike anything they had ever seen before, was moving toward the outer edges of their controlled space. It wasn't just its size that was alarming. It was the speed. No known warship in the galaxy could move that fast. Commander Zorak of the patrol fleet stood in front of the holographic display, his eyes narrowing as he analyzed the energy readings. The vessel emitted a strange signature, something completely unrecorded in their databases. It wasn't of any known alien race. This was something new, something unknown. A distress signal was immediately sent to the Galactic Council. Within hours, the most powerful leaders in the galaxy gathered for an emergency meeting. The room was filled with tension, representatives from different species arguing about what to do. Some, like the aggressive reptilian Xilari, demanded an immediate attack. They believed that allowing an unidentified warship to enter their space was an act of weakness. Others, like the cautious Avori diplomats, warned against hostility. They had encountered powerful civilizations before, and each time, diplomacy had saved them from destruction. "We do not know their intentions," an Avori representative said. "Attacking could provoke a war we are not prepared for." But what if they are here for war already? A Xilari general growled, slamming his clawed hand on the table. Should we wait until they fire the first shot? The debate continued, but the fact remained. This warship was coming, and no one knew why. Attempts to communicate with the vessel had already failed. Every message sent was met with silence. It was as if the ship didn't even recognize their language. As the warship drew closer, fear spread throughout the council. For the first time in centuries, the most powerful beings in the galaxy felt powerless. The unknown had come knocking, and no one knew if it was friend or foe. The warship kept moving, closing the distance between itself and the galactic border. The patrol ships had already formed a defensive perimeter, but no one wanted to make the first move. The command bridge of the lead patrol cruiser was silent, the crew staring at their screens, watching the mysterious vessel advance. Commander Zorak tightened his grip on the console. Still no response. "None, sir," his communication officer replied. "We've sent multiple transmissions in all known languages." No reply. "Send another," Zorak ordered. "This might be our last chance before things escalate." The message was sent, a simple but urgent transmission. "Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted space. Identify yourself immediately, or we will be forced to take defensive measures." Minutes passed. No response. The Galactic Council was still locked in fierce debate. Some leaders wanted to scramble the fleet and intercept the ship before it got any closer. Others insisted on waiting, hoping for some sign of peaceful intent. The warship, however, remained silent. Then, something changed. A pulse of energy rippled out from the warship. It wasn't a weapon, but it was powerful enough to disrupt all nearby scanners. The patrol ships flickered on the screens, their systems struggling to reboot. Panic spread through the fleet. "They've disabled our sensors," one officer shouted. Commander Zorak clenched his jaw. No, if they wanted to attack, they would have done so already. They're sending a message. The realization sent another wave of uncertainty through the Galactic Council. What kind of technology was this? No known race had the ability to disable entire fleets without firing a shot. The Xilari general slammed his fist on the table. "Enough. If they refuse to answer, we take them down before they reach our core systems." Before anyone could respond, the warship suddenly stopped. It hovered just beyond the border, as if waiting. The silence that followed was worse than any battle. The entire Galactic Council chamber fell into silence as the mysterious human warship came to a halt just outside the border. It did not advance. It did not retreat. It simply remained there, like a predator watching its prey. Commander Zorak watched the scene unfold from the bridge of his patrol cruiser. His crew was tense, their fingers hovering over weapon controls. The warship had already shown an ability no other race possessed, disabling an entire fleet's sensors without firing a single shot. That alone was terrifying. "They're waiting for something," his second-in-command muttered. "But what?" Zorak had no answer. He sent another transmission, this time using the Universal Emergency Code. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Zorak of the Galactic Patrol. State your intentions immediately." Again, there was no response. But then, something changed. A single small pod detached from the warship and drifted toward the border. The Galactic fleet prepared for an attack, but the pod remained unarmed. No energy signatures, no weapons, just a single, silent vessel moving toward them. The council chamber erupted in chaos. "They're testing our defenses," one ambassador shouted. "It's a trick. Destroy it now," another argued. But the High Chancellor raised a hand. "No, we do not fire unless we are fired upon." For the first time since the encounter began, something felt different. The humans could have attacked at any moment. Their warship was advanced beyond anything the Galactic Council had ever seen. And yet, they had not fired a single shot. "Let it pass," the Chancellor ordered. The patrol fleet allowed the pod to cross the border. It moved with precision, stopping just outside Zorak's cruiser. A hatch opened, and a holographic transmission began. A figure appeared, tall, armored, and unmistakably human. The voice that followed was calm, but firm. "We come in peace, but make no mistake, we are watching." With that, the transmission ended. The pod returned to the warship, and for the first time, the Galactic forces understood the truth. The humans were not afraid of them. They were warning them. The Galactic Council chamber was silent. Every ambassador, every leader, every officer present had heard the humans' message loud and clear. "We come in peace, but make no mistake, we are watching." It was not a threat. It was a statement of fact. Commander Zorak stood aboard his patrol cruiser, staring at the dark, silent warship that loomed just beyond the border. It had done nothing aggressive. No weapons were fired. No invasion had begun. And yet it held more power over the Council than any enemy in history. "What do they want?" his second-in-command asked, voice low. Zorak had no answer, but he knew one thing. Whoever these humans were, they were not ordinary conquerors. Back in the Council chamber, debate erupted. "They are testing us," one ambassador roared. "They want to see how weak we are before they strike." "No," another argued. "If they wanted war, they would have fired the first shot. Instead, they only sent a message. We must understand their true purpose." The High Chancellor remained quiet, deep in thought. The humans had technology beyond anything in the Galactic Council's reach. They had disabled entire fleets without a fight. And now, they were waiting. A single message was sent back to the human vessel. "What do you want?" For long minutes, there was no response. Then, a single transmission arrived. A set of coordinates. A neutral system, far from any Council territory. "What does it mean?" an officer asked. "They want a meeting," the High Chancellor said. Silence filled the chamber again. No one knew if this was a chance for peace, or the beginning of something far worse. The humans had made the first move. Now, it was time for the Council to decide if they would answer. The decision had been made. A diplomatic ship, escorted by a small but heavily armed fleet, would travel to the coordinates given by the humans. The Galactic Council knew the risk. This could be a trap. But ignoring the message could be worse. Commander Zorak stood on the bridge of the diplomatic cruiser, staring at the vast darkness ahead. The human warship had already left the border. Now, it was time to meet them face to face. The journey was tense. Every officer aboard was on high alert, weapons systems primed. As they reached the designated location, the crew held their breath. Then, it appeared. A massive human vessel, unlike anything in the Council's history. Its surface was dark, smooth, almost featureless, except for the faint glow of energy coursing beneath. It made no aggressive moves, yet its sheer size and power sent a clear message. "They are waiting," an officer whispered. A transmission came through, simple and direct. Board our vessel, one representative only. The council's envoy, a seasoned diplomat named Selen, stepped forward. She took a deep breath and entered the shuttle that would take her aboard the human warship. As she landed in the docking bay, the doors opened with a deep hum. The corridor beyond was dimly lit, eerily silent. Then a figure stepped forward. Tall, clad in sleek black armor, with piercing eyes that held both intelligence and caution. "Welcome," the human said. "We have much to discuss." Selen had prepared for many things, negotiations, threats, even an ambush. But as she looked into the human's unwavering gaze, she realized one thing. This meeting would change the galaxy forever. Selen stepped forward cautiously, her senses alert. The human in black armor stood motionless, watching her with an unreadable expression. She had met many alien species in her time, but something about this moment felt different. The air was thick with tension, yet there was no outright hostility. "You requested this meeting," Selen said, her voice steady. "What do humans want from the Galactic Council?" The human's lips curled slightly, not quite a smile, but something close. "Survival." Selen frowned. "Survival? You came into our territory, unannounced, with a warship. That does not look like survival. It looks like a challenge." The human chuckled, the sound low and unsettling. "If we wanted war, you would already know." Selen swallowed, realizing the weight behind those words. Despite the Council's fears, the humans had not fired a single shot. They had come with power, but not aggression. "Then explain," she demanded. The human gestured for her to follow. As they walked through the dimly lit corridors, she noticed the efficiency of their design. Nothing wasted, everything with a purpose. The ship wasn't just a weapon. It was something more. They reached a large viewing panel. The human pressed a control, and the darkness of space shifted. A holographic projection filled the room, displaying a system Selen didn't recognize. Planets burned, entire fleets lay in ruins. "This," the human said, "is what happened to the last species that ignored the warning." Selen felt a chill. "Warning? From whom?" The human turned to face her. "Something worse than us." For the first time, Selen felt true fear. The Council had seen humans as a threat, an enemy to prepare for. But now, she wasn't so sure. What if the real danger was still out there? Selen's mind raced as she processed the holographic images before her. Entire civilizations reduced to rubble. Advanced warships torn apart, as if they were nothing. The destruction was precise, methodical, terrifying. "You expect me to believe this?" she asked, her voice quieter than she intended. The human commander nodded. "Believe it or don't, the truth doesn't change." Selen turned away from the burning planets in the display. The Galactic Council had feared the humans, had seen them as an existential threat. But if what she was seeing was real, then the humans were not the greatest danger lurking in the galaxy. "Who did this?" she finally asked. The human hesitated, then pressed another control. The image shifted, showing an enormous structure floating in deep space. It wasn't a warship. It wasn't a planet. It was something else. "We don't know what they are," the human admitted, "but we call them harvesters. They take, they destroy, and they leave nothing behind." Selen felt an uneasy knot in her stomach. "And you think they're coming here?" The human's expression darkened. "No, we know they are." Silence filled the chamber. The weight of that statement crushed down on her. The Council had debated war with the humans, had feared their ships and their weapons. But now, those very warships might be the only thing standing between them and annihilation. "So that's why you came here," Selen whispered. "You weren't invading us. You were warning us." The human nodded. "We don't have the numbers to stop them alone. But together, we might stand a chance." Selen took a deep breath. The Council would never accept this easily, but she had seen the truth. The question was no longer about trusting the humans. It was about survival. She turned to the human commander. "Tell me what we need to do."